sir! I can't see anything!
This right here? This is the AK-47, also known as the Kalashnikov assault rifle. And trust me, you've seen this bad boy before. Remember Rambo mowing down enemies with that distinctive rattle? That raw power, that pure adrenaline rush that made you wish you could feel what it's like to unleash a magazine. Don't lie. We've all wanted to be in those shoes, even for a moment. Or maybe you've handled this Russian beauty virtually, the iconic terrorist weapon in Counter-Strike 1.6, your reliable companion in Call of Duty, or blazing through enemies in Battlefield. This thing's been in more video games than I've had hot meals. But the AK isn't just Hollywood fantasy or digital firepower. This Soviet legend has shaped real history. The Viet Cong relied on it to fight American forces in Vietnam. Soviet troops carried it into Afghanistan, where ironically the same weapon ended up in Mujahideen hands. It was Fidel Castro's revolutionary companion and even Osama bin Laden's signature accessory. From Iraqi insurgents to African warlords, from Cuban revolutionaries to Eastern European militias, this Russian export has seen more conflict than any weapon in history. So what makes this simple Soviet design the most manufactured firearm ever? What turned this humble chunk of metal and wood into a global symbol of resistance, revolution, and raw firepower? The secret isn't in what the AK-47 does. It's in what it doesn't do. It doesn't jam, it doesn't break, it doesn't fail, even when everything else does. The year is 1941. Nazi Germany has launched Operation Barbarossa against the Soviet Union. Among the millions of Soviet soldiers facing the German war machine is Senior Sergeant Mikhail Kalashnikov, a tank commander with no formal engineering training. After being wounded in battle, Kalashnikov begins sketching ideas for a new automatic rifle while recovering in a hospital. The Soviet army was outgunned. German soldiers carried the innovative STG-44, the world's first assault rifle. Kalashnikov's superiors took notice of his designs, and despite his lack of technical education, they assigned him to a team of engineers. What emerged from their work in 1947 was the Avtomat Kalashnikova model 1947, the AK-47. But Kalashnikov didn't create this weapon in isolation. He studied captured German arms and incorporated design elements from previous successful firearms. The operating system bears similarities to the American M1 Garand, while the layout resembles the German STG-44. Kalashnikov's genius wasn't in creating something entirely new, but in simplifying and combining proven elements into something extraordinarily reliable. By 1949, the AK-47 became the standard issue rifle for Soviet forces. Unlike Western powers who carefully controlled their weapons technology, the Soviets shared the AK-47 design with allied nations across the communist bloc. China, North Korea, Vietnam, and countries throughout Eastern Europe began producing their own versions. The impact was immediate and lasting. The AK-47 transformed infantry combat, offering formidable firepower in a compact, reliable package that required minimal training to operate effectively. It became the weapon of choice for national armies, guerrilla fighters, and revolutionary movements worldwide. What makes the AK-47 so exceptional isn't its firepower or accuracy. It's the engineering philosophy behind it. Let's break down how this weapon actually works. The AK-47 uses a long-stroke gas piston system. When a round is fired, some of the expanding gas is redirected through a port in the barrel, pushing the gas piston and bolt carrier backward. This motion ejects the spent casing and loads a fresh round from the magazine when the bolt moves forward again. This might sound complicated, but it's actually one of the simplest and most reliable operating systems ever designed. Unlike many Western rifles that direct gas directly into the bolt carrier group, the AK-47 keeps the combustion gases separate from the action. This prevents carbon buildup that can cause malfunctions. The internal components are intentionally loose-fitting with generous clearances between moving parts. While this reduces accuracy slightly, It means the rifle can function even when filled with sand, mud, or debris. The parts are also overbuilt, thicker and heavier than necessary, providing durability under extreme conditions. The AK-47 was originally designed with a stamped sheet metal receiver, though early production challenges led to milled receivers until manufacturing techniques improved. The rifle's distinctive curved magazine holds 30 rounds of 7.62 by 39mm ammunition, a cartridge specifically developed for this weapon that balances power and controllability. Even the safety mechanism reflects the rifle's practical design philosophy. The large selector lever can be operated while wearing heavy gloves in the Russian winter and makes an audible click when moved, allowing soldiers to verify their weapon's status in the dark. The manufacturing process of the AK-47 represents another aspect of its brilliance. Unlike precision-machined Western firearms, the AK was designed to be mass-produced with basic industrial equipment. Original Soviet production began at the Izhevsk machine plant, where workers with minimal training could produce components using basic machine tools. The design tolerances are so forgiving that parts produced in different factories, even different countries, will typically function together without issue. The production process begins with the trunnion, the structural heart of the rifle that connects the barrel to the receiver. In early models, receivers were milled from solid steel blocks in a labor-intensive process. Later versions used stamped sheet metal formed into shape and reinforced at stress points, dramatically reducing production time and cost. The barrel is chrome-lined, a feature Western militaries wouldn't adopt until decades later. This prevents corrosion and extends barrel life, especially important for armies that might not have regular maintenance schedules. Wood furniture, the stock, handguard, and grip, originally came from birch trees native to Russia, though laminated wood and later polymer components became common in newer versions. This simplified manufacturing approach meant countries with limited industrial capabilities could produce the AK-47, while American M16 rifles required advanced machinery and precisely manufactured parts. The AK could be built in basic workshops with rudimentary equipment. This manufacturing philosophy is why over 100 million AK pattern rifles have been produced worldwide, more than all other assault rifles combined. Today, the influence of the AK-47 extends far beyond the battlefield. Its distinctive shape appears in popular culture, art, and even on the national flag of Mozambique. Modern firearms from around the world incorporate elements of Kalashnikov's design philosophy, prioritizing reliability over pinpoint accuracy and simplicity over complexity. Mikhail Kalashnikov himself had a complicated relationship with his creation. While proud of designing a weapon that defended his homeland, he expressed regret over its use in conflicts worldwide. Before his death in 2013, he wrote, "My spiritual pain is unbearable at the thought of the lives taken by his invention." The AK-47's legacy is equally complex. It armed freedom fighters against colonial powers, but also enabled terrorist organizations and criminal enterprises. It defended nations and toppled governments. Perhaps no other invention has so perfectly embodied the dual nature of human ingenuity, our capacity to create and destroy. What's undeniable is the AK-47's place in history as one of the most influential weapons ever designed. Its reliability under the worst conditions and its ease of use made it the great equalizer in asymmetric warfare throughout the 20th century. And that legacy continues today. While modern firearms feature polymers, advanced optics, and ergonomic improvements, the heart of many still beats with the same reliable rhythm Kalashnikov designed in a Soviet hospital over 75 years ago. If you found this deep dive into one of history's most influential firearms valuable, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment, including where you first heard about or encountered it, to stay informed about legendary weapons that shaped our world.